Greetings, fellow YouTubers. Lindsay here, on the road again. Yes, that's right. I'm on the road again. We're in Louisville, and you know, when I go on the road, I always like to do some vlogging, look for some interesting sights. So I'm going to go grab a bite to eat at Subway, and then I'm going to go to the what's called Water Tower Park. The Louisville Water Works. It's supposed to be a museum there, some old stuff to look at. Let's go check it out. So this is supposed to be the world's oldest ornamental water tower. We're going to find out more about it, the building, and the waterworks that are here. Louisville Water Works, cornerstone of Engine House, laid September 6, 1858. So this is some pretty fancy architecture. A lot of wind. I apologize. Sometimes I never can tell when you guys are going to hear the wind. Now this is obviously really old, but even slightly newer, but seems like just as old as. Look at the around that window. It's very oxidized. A lot of green going on. That's copper, I think. Could be copper turns green, right, guys? Those of you who are nerdier than me. There's another building over here behind here. It's got a pretty old roof on it. I don't know what all this stuff is. That stuff is behind security gates, so obviously they don't want us going in there. Here's an old water bucket. There's an old log. Details the cost of building the waterworks at $829,000. So in the old days when they had water, they would wait for the mud to settle to the bottom before they would drink it. They would siphon off the cleaner, non-muddy water. How'd you like to drink that? It reminds me of Back to the Future, right? Back to the Future 3, where he's in the Old West. They hand in some water and it's all dirty looking. This is a mud pump. Check this out. This could pump over 20,000 gallons of water an hour. Not PVC, not metal, not black iron, but wood, guys. They used wood for their water pipes. How about that? Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Wood. Isn't that neat? Hey, I have one of those. That one that has an E on it, I've got one of those for my house. I live in an old house. You would expect nothing less from me, right? Living in an old house. Alright, so for those of you that like the before and after, then and now type of stuff, here's some interesting before and after, then and now. Here's where they're connecting some of the pipes to the Crescent Hills Reservoir. So I guess outside, if you look at the very top, there's a bunch of statues. And they weren't in the original design. The original design had urns, according to this, and the statues replaced the urns. I'm not sure if they're still there, but you can see one in this old picture here. Alright guys, I don't know if they're gonna let me film the tour they're gonna give me. If they don't, I'll try to kind of summarize a little bit of it for you. Hopefully we'll see some of the older parts. Hopefully they'll let me film it. Anyway, so I'm just hanging around, looking around, waiting for the tour to start. I passed by this earlier without really stopping to look at what it was. It's a fire bucket. Every major business that was in the area was required to have a couple of these on hand filled with water to fight fires with. This was the first line of defense if there was a major fire, but it wasn't quite enough. And if there was an inferno, it was just no match, you know, for, no pun intended, it was no match for wood-fueled fires.
In the early days of water companies, this was a typical type of structure. And the way that this worked is those engines that were inside of the pumping station where we were, as the water was pulled in from the river and then the arms would push down and push the water out, the piston would go down, it would actually shoot the water up into the top of the water tower. So it would go all the way to the top of this pipe, and then as it, of course, fell back toward the earth, it created this really strong force of push, this gravitational force that helped to push it up to the reservoir. So in the early days of the water company here, all we did was pull water from the river, send it to the reservoir, and let sedimentation work. So
sweet. What was the thinking behind putting the statues on there? I was reading inside originally, the original design was to have urns.
Yes. And I don't know what happened after that tornado, because I think the statues were a little different. They weren't Greek and Roman gods and goddesses prior to the 1890 tornado. Yeah. There may have been some urns or pictures up there. We cannot definitively find pictures or documentation that tells us specifically what was there. There is one statue that you can see left in some of the old photos after the tornado, and it almost looks like more like a prairie girl or something, just like a bonnet on or something. You can kind of see it in some of the photographs. You might be able to see it in some of the photographs in the museum, but it's really difficult to tell, and they've certainly studied them quite a bit. So let's go inside.
Now we're about to enter the no filming zone.
We are about to enter the no filming zone.
All right, so this is it.
Come back out. I will tell you, you can take a still-only picture of the old steam engine.
Okay.
Okay. We'll allow that. That's it there.
All right, zip up my bag here and get it on. So the tour of the actual functioning pump house was pretty cool. There's two pump houses. One of them actually has the original steam engine in it. They would let me take still photos of it. They wouldn't let me take video. It was pretty big. On the back side of it, it had all the old-fashioned dials. Now, those of you who are don't remember life before computers, this is the way things were done. There was an engineer, he stood there, there were no computers, there was no, there was no modern equipment back then, so they actually watched dials and they made decisions. So it's very interesting to see things the way they were. So there's a few photos I got from that. Close out the video. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. If you like this video, check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/ErvLindsay. Appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.